Good day, good afternoon, or good evening to everybody joining us today on this very important product update webinar. This is a webinar where we yearly assemble the full team of product managers and people responsible for the WoodWing Assets Studio and Connect portfolio to showcase the product release summary of 2025. And of course, share the roadmap, initiatives, and plans for 2026 or the year to come. I am Magdalena. I will be the moderator of the webinar today, and it will be a great pleasure that you have joined us today to ask any questions that you might have throughout the sessions, and we hope to have enough time to answer them all after the presented features and functionalities. So how does the agenda of the webinar look like for today is, firstly, we're going to recap the 2025 initiatives. Then the roadmap planning for 2026 is going to be shared. And then individually, we deep dive into WoodWing Assets, the two versions, version 6 and 10, WoodWing Studio, and last but not least, WoodWing Connect and the WoodWing Apps. Again, in the end, we want to answer any questions that our audience, customers, prospects, partners, anybody in the WoodWing ecosystem has for us. And if not, we will, of course, follow up with you, each and every one of you individually, to provide you with the necessary response. It's a great pleasure to have the speakers today, very important people from our product development departments and product management departments. In order of appearance, Tom Peisel, the VP of Product Management, he will do the first introduction and overview of the roadmap plans. We have then Jouke Jongsma, our Product Manager for WoodWing Assets, Danny Lehue, our Product Manager from WoodWing Studio, Jeff Gapp, the Product Manager for WoodWing Connect, and Paul Walker, our Development Manager for WoodWing Connect and the WoodWing Apps. We have a great session planned out for today, and we hope to keep your attention and knowledge gained after this session for all the product releases we've had recently. Without further ado, I'd like to ask Tom Peisel to join us on stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdalena. Let's first dive into all the great things that we've released last year. So what did we do? So we launched Assets 10, so the next iteration of WoodWing Assets, brand new UI, new ways to configure a single sign-on, in-app video editor, design editor, optimized mobile share links, and we will showcase Assets 10 later in this webinar. Secondly, we focused on AI layout automation for newspapers. Also that one, we have a demo later in the deck. We've been working on various apps as part of the WoodWing Connect umbrella. So PDF Manager, workflow assistance for assets, and a content delivery app. And last but not least, content collaboration. So also content collaboration has been integrated into Assets 10. But for 2026, we have, of course, much more in store. So we are continuing with Assets 10. A native trash can, of course, a studio integration, and improvements to the Assets 10 portal feature, and more to come. Next to that, AI assistance, both in Assets and Studio. We're going to work on copy editing, copy fitting, SEO, tone and voice, and also we're going to explore the power of AI-powered search. Of course, we're continuing with AI layout automation for both newspapers and magazines. And we are working on WoodWing Connect and Cloud, so migration tooling to migrate customers from Assets 6 to Assets 10, usage dashboards so that you can have real-time insights in the amount of storage that you're consuming and the amount of users that are accessing your system. And of course, we are continuing with the work of decoupling integrations, which will make it easier for you to upgrade to newer versions. But let's dive into the roadmap details. So this is the roadmap for Asset 6. Key features for this year are the studio integration, trash can, and API improvements. The portals feature, so we are finishing up our Angular migration project and simultaneously introducing a few new features. For example, the ability to configure the filters that you want to see in the portal. Also, big focus will be on migration tooling. That's actually already started from Asset 6 to Assets 10. And also along the year, we will explore the potential of AI-powered search and natural language-powered search technologies and how to best integrate them into assets. For Studio, the current focus for layout automation is on newspapers, but towards the summer, we will shift our focus to magazine production. Also here you see the integration with Assets 10 on the roadmap. So this is the Studio part of that work, and the various AI assistants in the both the Studio client, and we're also looking if we can integrate the copy fitting solution in InCopy. And then lastly, Connect. So we're extending the Connect core capability. So this is both our integrations or our plugin in Workato. So for example, we're adding the planning interface as we speak, as well as making changes to the core products, both Assets and Studio, to better facilitate external integrations. Next to that, we're consolidating our integrations. So both the traditional WoodWing integrations as well as those coming from the Concord team under one umbrella. Examples of those are also the apps that we're working on. So that's the workflow assistant, the content delivery hub, and the PDF manager to also make them available and streamline crowd migrations. And with that, let me hand you over to Jouke to give you an update on Asset 6 and Assets 10.
Thank you, Tom. So I will talk about the improvements. Let's move to the next slide. Here we go. I will talk about the improvements we have made to Asset 6 and Assets 10. So for Asset 6, our main focus has been on fixing bugs and investing in better stability and performance. So this will also remain our focus for this year. So for our cloud-native DAM product, at the beginning of this year, we still called it Swivel. We introduced, what Tom already mentioned, a completely redesigned interface with many new features and improvements. This major step forward is also the reason why we rebranded Swivel into Assets 10. So this version includes mobile-friendly share links, improved metadata management, in-app photo and video editing, and much more, which will be demonstrated in a video later. Assets 10 also integrates with our new WoodWing Identity service, and with this identity service, we now offer a single sign-on for Assets 10. I also would like to briefly highlight a few key improvements we introduced last year. So we released the metadata taxonomy feature. So this is an Asset 6 feature brought over to Assets 10. This feature allows users to organize, standardize, and quickly search assets using controlled categories. Another DOM consolidation feature currently released for testing is the front-end integration. This feature enables the panel and action plugins directly in the interface of Assets 10 and the production version. So it's currently in testing, and the production version will be released very soon. The content collaboration feature has been added to Assets 10, and this feature allows teams to share, review, annotate, and approve assets directly from the DOM product. And finally, we, in addition to the photo editor and the video editor, we also added the design editor to Assets 10. And with this editor, customers can easily design and customize flyers and leaflets directly from the Assets 10 product directly in the web browser. Yeah, let's go to the video. Let's play the video. Here we go.
Hello. So in this demo, I would like to demonstrate some of the latest features in our WoodWing Assets product. This version of Assets is called Assets 10. We completely redesigned and updated the whole interface. And let me highlight a few differences between Assets 10 and Assets 6 product. So the design is more up-to-date standards. We have removed the view of the buttons and we are now working with tabs in the design. So we have the browsing part, as you can see here. We have the share part where you have your share links, and we have the check out part where if you are working with checked in, checked out files, you can find them over here. So let's talk about the metadata panel on the right side. In this metadata panel, we have now added a search option. So you can now search for metadata values in this metadata search. We also included a nice preview of the selected image. In the metadata panel, you have now the ability to work and order the different categories and the individual metadata fields within the categories. So for example, I would like to start with the file category at the top. And then within the file, I would like to have the demo category in the file category on top. You can now save it. You will now see those changes are applied on the right side here. The same concept will also work in the filter panel. In the filter panel, you have also the ability to order the different metadata fields, as you can see here. And also the same concept will work in the different views and the metadata fields that are visible in the different views. So here you have also the ability to track and order the categories, and within the categories, different metadata fields. And that, of course, goes for the different views as well. Let's upload a few files, and the upload process works also a bit different. In Assets 10, we make use of multi-part upload. This allows for uploading much larger files. So you don't have a separate screen. It happens directly on the background. And here you see the upload file where you can add metadata fields. So the multi-part, and also the big difference is a bit more technical. How uploads work on Assets 10 is we do it directly to our backends. This will allow for much faster upload because we bypass the server. A nice feature is that during upload, we make use of an IE auto tagging engine. And during upload, you see that we automatically add tags from the artificial intelligence engine. We make use of Amazon Recognition. The preview is sent to Amazon Recognition. This is viewed and looked at, and from that we get multiple tags back, which are added to the general tag field. So that's a cool feature that is part of in the product itself. So it's an in-app feature. Compared to our previous version, we have now what we call a different list view. The list view is more condensed. So as you can see here, the previous version, the list view was larger and is now more condensed. And with that, you can see much more files at once. So this is much more like a list view you see in your file explorer. So this is a nice improvement. Let's go over to share link. So let me create a share link. Let me move to this new tab. And here you see the new share link. A great new feature is that we now have optimized the share links for mobile use. And now you can see when the share link is opened on a mobile device, we automatically optimize the mobile share link, the page to the size of the mobile screen. This user only have the ability to view files, but if we would have enabled upload in the same share link, guest upload, then also a user could upload files in optimized environment directly from their mobile. We've introduced a nice dark mode. We have also introduced multiple in-depth editors. So, for example, now if I open a JPEG file, I can edit this file. So we still have the ability to check in a file, and then a user can use their own applications that are saved and installed on their local machine. But now we have introduced an in-app photo editor as well. So let me open this file. And here you see a few windmills, and let me crop this image. And give it a bit more vintage look. Let's add a classical frame. And let me add some text. Went mail in some. I can save this. I can select save as new, or I can save it as a version. Let me do the last. So you see the file is now, the most recent file is this new edited file, but we still have the original file over here. But now you can see the checked-in file is this version. The same concept will also work for videos. Let's open this. Now I have an MP4 file, and now I don't have the option to open in photo, but now I have the option open in video editor. And here we have the file. At the bottom you have a nice timeline where you can scroll to the file. You can add an additional file that is stored locally or in the folder of Assets 10. You can work with the file. So for example, you can change the volume, you can crop the file, you can trim it. So let's remove a part of the beginning. We can search for files in the system. This is that example. Let's add this. Here on the top right. Here we can add some text. And of course, you can show where to include the file. So where should this image be added? Much more possibility here around adjustments, animations, how text should fly in or how should be presented. You can save the project and then restart working on the project. You can save it as a new file, or can save it as a version. Let's save the and here we have it. And also here you have the new version, but also still the original. The last thing I would like to show is pretty much in line with the photo editor and the video editor is what we call the design editor. And you can start the design projects. You can work with nice templates. And you can see this as a Canva version that's added to Assets 10, an in-app or InDesign in-app light version, where you can create small leaflets, brochures directly from the DOM system, which can be shared with digital channels or different outlets. You can, of course, completely customize this. You can work with the default templates. You can create your own. You can upload your own templates that different users can start from. And you can save your project and work from there. And the last thing I would like to mention is the WoodWing Identity service. And with the newly introduced WoodWing Identity service, we now also offer single sign-on for Assets 10 users. And this can be completely set up by a customer partner itself. We support the latest standards like SAML and OpenID Connect. And all can be done self-service, but of course we can also help you with this configuration. This concludes my...
Thank you. And let's move over to Danny.
All right, taking a look at WoodWing Studio, I want to first talk about some of our routine maintenance that we have been doing. So first, I'm going to start off with Adobe CC 2025. We, of course, added support for InDesign 2025 Studio, for InCopy 2025, InDesign Server 2025, and then also Smart Styles 20.1 was released. WoodWing Studio, inside of the product itself, we added some updates for layout preview. We recently launched a new desktop app and Chrome extension. We added pagination for InDesign Server jobs. We released a new API, which allows multi-set object properties. So if you're trying to update multiple metadata fields at the same time, there's a new API for that. And a new web service for clean and delete issues, as well as updates for MySQL 8.4, RabbitMQ 4.1, and PHP 8.4 is on the way, almost released. All of these features are available for all of our on-premise and cloud customers. Now I'm going to shift focus, and I want to talk a lot about a feature that we released.
content collaboration and commenting abilities. This is exclusively inside of WoodWing Cloud.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most impactful collaboration features introduced in WoodWing Cloud over the past year, with a special focus on comments, @mentions, the Activity Hub, available in Studio, and WoodWing Assets 10. These updates are all about making collaboration cleaner, faster, more intentional, and no matter how many people or files are involved. In any collaborative content creation process, communication is everything. Writers, editors, designers, fact-checkers, and reviewers all need to work together seamlessly to make content more accurate, aligned, and ready to publish. Before now, feedback could easily get lost. Comments were general, notifications were scattered, and it wasn't always clear who needed to take action. That's exactly what these features are designed to solve. With comments, @mentions, and the Activity Hub, teams can now communicate directly inside the content, clearly signal ownership, and stay on top of conversations without leaving the platform. One of the biggest improvements to collaboration in Studio is the ability to tag teammates using @mentions inside of comments. To mention someone, simply type the symbol in any comment or reply. As soon as you do, a drop-down list appears showing relevant users by their full display name, such as Danny Lehue. As you continue typing, the list automatically filters, prioritizing the first name matches to make the selection quick and intuitive. The drop-down updates in real time. You can scroll using your mouse or arrow keys and then press enter. Or you can simply click on the name if you want. Once selected, that person's name is inserted directly into the comment, clearly calling their attention to that message. The list shows up to 25 users at a time and is sorted alphabetically. If a user has been deactivated or deleted, their name will appear as unknown user, with a question mark avatar so that there's never confusion about who's active within the system. With @mentions, feedback becomes direct, focused, and actionable, ensuring that the right people are looped in immediately. Once someone is mentioned, the experience doesn't stop at the comment. Every @mention and reply generates a notification that appears inside the Activity Hub. It's a centralized place designed to help users manage all collaboration across their files. No more hunting through projects or guessing where feedback lives. At the top of the Studio interface, a badge icon displays the number of unread comment notifications. This gives you instant visibility into new activity without opening individual files. You can filter the feed to show only unread notifications, mark individual items as read or unread, or select Mark All as read to clear everything at once. The Activity Hub ensures nothing important slips through the cracks, especially when you're juggling multiple projects. Clicking the badge opens the Activity Hub, which overlays the main application. In your comments feed, all comments routed to you start with the most recent. Each notification includes helpful context, whether it's a mention, a reply, or a result comment. And it will also show you a preview of the comment text. From here, you can view the thread to see the full conversation, or you can select Use Go-To File to jump directly to the source file and review details in context. Now, let's take a look at comments inside of WoodWing Assets 10. Creative projects often involve many revisions and many contributors. To support that process, comments can now be added to any file in Assets 10. Whether you're requesting feedback like, please review this file, or giving direction, what do you think of this version? Comments keep discussions visible, contextual, and tied directly to the asset. Select any file in WoodWing Assets 10. Click the comments icon in the right-hand toolbar. Choose Create a New Comment, type your message, and post. You can now easily manage your comments. You can edit them, delete them directly from the panel. Mark comments as resolved once no action is further needed. Resolved comments move to a separate tab, keeping the active view clean while preserving the conversation history. Just like in Studio, you can tag teammates using the @mentions in Assets 10. The same rule applies. Full names are displayed, The list shows up to 25 users, and deactivated users appear as unknown users. Mentions and replies appear in the Activity Hub, where users can filter, mark notifications, view threads, or jump straight to the file. Thanks for watching this demonstration of comments, @mentions, and the Activity Hub in WoodWing Studio and WoodWing Assets 10. These features are designed to reduce friction, improve clarity, and help teams collaborate more efficiently without leaving the tools they already use every day. For full details, visit the WoodWing Help Center, and we can't wait to see how your teams put these collaboration tools to work.
And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Tom to talk about AI layout automation.
Thank you, Danny. Yes, so layout automation. So what is it all about? So we see that a lot of manual effort is spent in repetitive tasks to fit content on the page. And although templates are great, you only have so many and they are hard to manage. Also looking at alternative solutions, we see that they are often rule-based, which can lead to boring designs. And those AI engines make the articles bigger and smaller themselves, which leads to an inconsistent flow of articles over the section of your newspaper or magazine. So we set ourselves the goal to create an algorithm that can generate the geometrical information where to place the articles and images across the pages of a newspaper or magazine, all to minimize the need for manual copy fitting afterwards. The manual copy fitting is, for example, done by a designer, but it could also be a journalist who has to copy fit the text. So this functionality impacts both roles. So we introduced two new concepts into WoodWing Studio, and which are the blueprints and the shapes. And by using AI search technology, we combine past human-created designs to suggest the best layout for the content at hand. The blueprints are the predefined high layout patterns, which ensure a consistent flow within the section. So you control the size of the articles. The engine will never make the articles bigger than what you configured. A blueprint box can contain a story or an advert, for example, and the stories are split into several different types. So lead story, secondary story, third, or filler. And you can create these pillar stories where you have multiple smaller stories combined into one pillar, combined, for example, with ads. There is not an infinite amount of blueprints that you can think of. So what we see now is that anywhere between 75 to 100 blueprints covers all the variants that you can ever think of, and is typically more than what you now have in your templates. Second thing that you need is an InDesign article shape, and this is the design of the article itself. And the article shapes are typically upfront extracted from your existing templates, or they can be extracted from previously published work, and they are added organically. So when you produce new content, we can detect these new shapes and add them to the library as well. So this results in thousands of possible shapes that the algorithm can work with. In the case that no ideal shape is found, we're working on an AI solution that can automatically modify the shape itself, or in the future create new variants on the fly. This solution will not change the text or the look and feel of the article. It will change, for example, the size of the image or the size of the quote to make the article fit. So what is then the difference with today? So today you might have a few hundred fixed templates, but with AI layout automation, you have hundreds of thousands of flexible compositions directly to you available. At the moment, we are rolling out AI layout automation to various customers, running various POC projects. And these are some examples of pages that you can create with AI layout automation. So let's go over to the demo video to show you in action how easy it is to create a page. In this video, we would like to show AI layout automation in action. As you can see, your page planner solution has created the empty pages in WoodWing Studio and already placed the sold ads. The next step is that we're going to place the stories on the page. We select the pages for which we want to run layout automation and open the layout automation dialog. In the bottom, we see a list of all the articles which have been written for this issue and category. And here on the top, we see how the algorithm is laying out the articles over the different pages. As a user, I can now make some tweaks to the design. For example, by changing the story type from a lead into a second, or by changing the aimed page number. When I click Update, you see that the story is now moved to page 6 and has become a secondary story. Whether something is a secondary or lead story is a creative decision. It's not only based on the number of characters. You could, for example, have a small story with a large article being the lead story. When you are happy with the result, you can hit the Compose Pages button. The design is then sent to InDesign server and the stories are placed on the page. This takes a moment. We can now use the existing process to finish up the layout. For example, preview the layout and open one of the stories in InCopy or in the print editor, or finish the design in InDesign. Thank you. With that, let me hand you over to Jeff for WoodWing Connect.
Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Gapp, and I'm the product manager for WoodWing Connect. In a moment, we'll also be seeing Paul Walker. But let's just jump into the presentation here and talk about Connect and where we are. So WoodWing Connect, as we've discussed before in other presentations, is essentially an umbrella term for using our APIs, the webhooks within the Studio and Assets tools, and also the iPass tool, which is the Workato piece. We've continued to refine, and you can actually see Workato here on the right-hand side. We've continued to refine our connectors for Workato as well as over the last year, adding in APIs for Studio and really working to refine what we're doing. In 2026, we're going to be really working to take items from the partners and customers that they've wanted APIs and events and add those in. We're pretty excited about those. So stay tuned for what those are going to be. Connect is also about a tool, these what we call pre-built integrations, right? And so we've done quite a bit of work with AI, obviously. We've done some things where you can see clarify trained model. We've helped a customer create a model, train it, and use that within their business. So that was pretty fun and quite interesting. These pre-built integrations that you see here are really starting points. Things like Dropbox and pushing things to Google Drive, right? Those are kind of things that you might want to do just as part of the efficiency within your business or bringing things in. We completed a project this year with Monday.com that we're pretty excited about. Content reuse convert API is one that's out there and available where you can actually take certain kinds of content, convert it into others. So the use case here was really for engineering firms, right? The ability to take CAD/CAM files and put them into the assets tools with Previous. So that's what we were doing there. We've done quite a bit of work with Studio for going from Studio to WordPress and also from WordPress to Studio. We're not limited to WordPress. It just happens to be the request that we have in. So the centerpiece of the tooling is really quite flexible and can be used with other CMSs. Okay. We also, of course, have, if we look at our WoodWing apps, and we have a PDF Manager. Tom talked about this a little bit before, but PDF Manager, the name doesn't really describe what it does. It can do generate PDF files in a multitude of different ways. It can generate XML files, packages, generate PDFs from the publication overview, use workflow metadata right from the tooling to pass in that to the PDF, so we can make some decisions about that and some other things. I'm going to go ahead here and I want to play a video, and then we're going to bring Paul in to finish up this particular piece of the presentation. So here we go. We're going to take a little bit of a look at PDF Manager.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Gapp, and I am the product manager for WoodWing Connect. Today, we're going to take a quick look at PDF Manager, which is a tool that name gives away its basic functionality, but it includes so much more. So PDF Manager has core functionality of generating PDFs with configurable parameters. You can create single page or multi-page PDF using defined job options, color settings, customizable file naming. You can do pre-flighting, error handling, getting messages back on errors back to the users. And you can also generate packaged InDesign layouts, export XML, export layout images, and also export images of the pages in PNG or JPEG. For PDF Manager, the key capabilities, of course, is we can generate the content, but we can also deliver the content. So we can deliver it to Assets 10, Studio Server. We can deliver it to an Amazon S3 bucket or any other configured endpoints. The workflow support, as we'll see in the next slide, can be status-based workflow. It could be a trigger field, so a Boolean field, right? Click it on, and that generates PDFs. And you can use something called the PDF dialog. The PDF dialog is a tool that's part of when PDF Manager is installed. It's part of the publication overview, and it allows you to email content to users to be able to, for them to be able to review. It could be a single page. It could be an entire issue made up of multiple sections. Let's take a quick look at PDF Manager and the functionality. So in this case, we're here in the Studio web application. We're going to see here that we have several dossiers. Now, the easiest thing to do is simply to come into Studio, select the layout, and you can say generate PDF. What then happens is the process is triggered. If the PDF generation fails, you'll get a notification here along with a message that tells you what the failure was. And then you'll get the layout set to done to indicate that the PDF file was actually generated. So the other ways of working are to use things like a trigger here. There's our PDF error message. You can also have a little flag here that says multi-page PDF or not. So whichever way you use to trigger the PDF Manager, the end result is a InDesign server job within Studio. The InDesign server job runs, and we can actually see here within Studio Server, this is a list of all of the things that the PDF Manager did with the content that was sent to it. So you can see here, export PDF was done, archived the PDF, but it skipped export JPEG, PNG, and etc. because we didn't tell it as part of the parameters we configured to do those things. Now, what we can then do, and you can kind of see it right here, WoodWing Connect PDF Manager, the PDF Manager is sending the files over to Assets. So if we look over here in Assets, we see that here are some files that were sent over earlier. And then we have this notification, the content of this folder has changed. So if we click Update, we get a series of PDFs. And you can see here that in this case, we made a series of single page PDFs. Again, you can merge them together. And we also have zip files that represent the packages for the generation of the layouts. So in short, that is PDF Manager and the functionality that's available today. Please reach out to us if you have questions. Thank you very much.
And I'm back. So just to finish up with PDF Manager, if you have questions, this is a cloud-only tool, right? It has a series of dependencies, and it is very, very, very flexible. With that, what I'd like to do is introduce Paul Walker to the presentation. And Paul, I'm going to jump off.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. Thank you for the intro. So, hello everybody. I'm going to talk about three particular products in the WoodWing app. So we have, first off, the Content Delivery Hub. So this is a studio product, and it's actually a modular product that will allow you to publish your print or digital articles to any one of your digital channels. So it will collect digital articles, it will reach into your print publications, either from an issue or through a particular brand. And it has a pre and post transformation module where you might want to gather metadata from the assets that were on the page, or gather metadata from an external API to enrich the content. We then have transformation modules. There are kind of several. They're all currently based on XSLT. So you can use that to take the XML, transform that into any particular pattern that you might require downstream. We then have a post-processing module where, for example, in Studio, you can position the images, but it's using the whole image. You might only see a portion, and then it can crop and process and style, maybe push it to different external image processing services, the way you might want to normalize the color, and then transport that out the door. Now that can go through to an API. It could go to WordPress. It could go through to an SNS notification service. So again, there's different modules. So this will allow you from kind of one single action within Studio to then publish seamlessly out the door, transforming it into the requirements of each of your channels. All the way through the entire process, there is a notification system, so you can actually see as things are processing, as the data is being collected, and be notified of those transformations as they're happening. We then have, I'm going to skip over to the cleanup service. This is a dual product. So we have a Studio and Assets cleanup service. The Assets is simply something that's scheduled on a given timescale, can run particular queries and remove content, tidy up the DAM, keeping it nice for you. The Studio version, so we call the Studio Cleanup, so that can again work with different criteria on brands and the issues on the inside. And that's kind of a multi-stage. So first of all, again, based on a time, it can come in and lock your issues. So no more work is to be done on this one. Again, it will notify the users, kind of going, right, this issue is now locked. At a predetermined time, that can then be archived, and the entire issue can be archived off. And then finally, if you want to create the rule, that archive you could keep for a certain length of time, and that archive can then also be cleaned up. So that's the Content Delivery Hub and the cleanup service. We also have a third one for today, which is the Workflow Assistant. So this is allowing you to create a tailor-made role-based panel within Assets. So it allows for contextual, informative panels to guide your users through a particular workflow, making onboarding much quicker, reducing the complexity and reducing errors. And I have a little short video to show you. And I shall just start the video now. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Hi, I'm Paul Walker, and I'm going to introduce you to the Workflow Assistant. This is a role-based, customizable panel inside WoodWing Assets. As well as enjoying all the usual metadata fields that you usually see in tags, we have multiple additional benefits. For example, straight from this tool, you can group. Not only can you present taxonomies, you can also have information. So for example, in the copyright here, you can guide users on what to do, making onboarding much quicker. You're presenting workflow in a human readable form, and they're not just dealing with metadata. So this then goes on to being able to provide notes on required fields. So here we have an asset where title, label, subject is required. When they fill those fields in, that messaging will disappear and allow people to publish or unpublish. So as we notice here, this is unpublishable. The user cannot perform the action. This asset here, we can see that this asset is published, and we can unpublish it, but the publishing button's grayed out because there's no need for the user to do that. So we present all of this as a tool for the admins to be able to create, and it's a simple drag and drop. We have the information here, and I can drag and drop new functionality, control how I want this to be configured, and present that to the user, allowing you or the consultant working with you to customize panels targeted directly for you and your users. Thanks for watching. Gives you a little kind of a clue, and again, it's the key thing is kind of keeping it informative. There's lots of different controls there to make sure that you can really craft the panel, guiding the user at every step of the way, so that there's less mistakes, less error prone in your workflow, which obviously reduces support calls and speeds up the entire process. With that, I'm going to hand back to Magdalena.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for the lovely presentations and demos that you've prepared. I think they were very informative for all participants joining us, which are in a great number. We did receive some questions throughout the session, and I would start with the first one from Dominic Allards. Hello, can you mention what is for cloud and what is for on-premise? Tom, would you like
Yes, great question. So as you see, it's a mix. So there are, of course, some obvious cloud-only features like everything that we're doing for Assets 10 is, of course, cloud-only. Then there are a little bit in between features like the AI assistant. So those will start cloud-only. We have not made the decision if we're going to release them on-prem. That also depends on the technical capabilities. For the layout automation, we're also working with various on-premise customers already today to roll this out. So for those, it depends a little bit on their upgrade velocity, but it can work.
Okay, thank you. Another question from another Tom. Tom is asking, can we change the default AI tags? We would like to use AI face recognition to find our employees.
Yeah, great question. So yes, this is possible. So we integrate by default with AWS recognition, but Jeff and team are already integrated with a lot of other AI vendors. So AWS recognition is not the best AI service for celebrity detection or facial detection. For that, it's better to, for example, use Clarify, and we also have integrations available that we can integrate with both Assets 6 and Assets 10.
That's right. Yeah, the AWS recognition, the default one does text and tags, right? And so AWS does have the capability to do facial recognition. You might want to make a different decision, right? It's really up to you on how you choose to do it. We have done, as Tom noted, we've done some work with one of our customers and building our own, building a model for them. So we've got the process of feeding in the images for the model, being able to correct the model from the UI of assets, right? So feed in an image to your model, get it tagged. If the tags aren't right, you can take away and tell the model that this is not an appropriate tag, or add tags for that matter, so the model can get it. So there's a lot of just consideration about the question you're asking, and happy to walk you through it if you'd like to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Darren. This is about the PDF manager, I believe. Can I create a package of the complete issue?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think there was another question. Timeline for Assets 10 or Studio integration and migration tool.
We're looking at, okay, timeline's always subject to change, but realistically, at the soonest, it would be Q4 of this year.
Thank you, Danny.
Mhm.
Let's see if we have other. I don't believe we have other questions, to be honest. Yeah, I'm looking at all the messages, but I guess that's it. Yes. Well, if you have any additional questions, feel free to always reach out to info@woodwing.com. Or if you have a direct contact with any of the presenters, feel free also to reach out to them, or to your partner or customer success manager from WoodWing. They'll be more than happy to guide you through any questions or answer anything that you might have uncertain. So yes, I think we have 2 minutes left until the end. So I would really like to thank everybody that joined us today. Of course, you will receive the recording after this webinar live session. I believe we send out the recording within a day or two. So in case you missed the beginning or a specific segment throughout the webinar, you can always return and listen through or watch the demos that were showcased today. Any last words, Tom, that you might have?
Yes, so we would like to thank you for your attention, first of all. And yeah, we're really looking forward to work with you, releasing these features throughout the year, and also making them available to all your users so that they can take advantage of those features.
Yes, thank you so much. Take care, everyone, and yes, until next time. See you soon.